Is my sound good?
Oh yeah, real good. You so you have some mornings off, as busy as you are. Let me
And what
make
about, can you see me okay?
Yeah, we
Too
all good,
close?
man.
Am I too
No,
close?
no, no. You're good.
Okay.
So for by way of introduction, I'm here today with David Yamashiro, who's talking to me from Maui, right?
Yes, correct.
All right. And we'll have to probably spend a little more time with history because his history that we know of is a little bit different. What grade you started Kamehameha, David?
Second grade.
Second grade. And you went as far as six, did you tell me?
Yes, sixth grade. Uh-huh.
Okay. Where
Left
did you
before
do
the school year. I'm
where did
sorry.
you do that's okay. Where did you do kindergarten to second grade? I mean first grade.
Oh, part of it was at Mauna Loa. And then I also lived in San Francisco for a little while my dad was going to school.
Oh, okay. So was that the beginning of that age range?
Yeah, kindergarten, I was at Mauna Loa and part of first grade. And second grade, I was in the mainland. No, sorry. Kindergarten and first grade was between Mauna Loa and the mainland.
Ah, okay. What was your dad going to school for up there?
For He was an appraiser, so he was the chief appraiser for FHA.
All right, on. You have siblings, David?
I do. An older sister, Diva, who passed away. She graduated from Farrington. A younger sister, Iolani, that graduated from Kamehameha, and a younger brother, Daniel, who graduated from Iolani.
Oh, okay. There's some variety there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The sister that graduated from Kamehameha, what year did she graduate?
78.
Would she have gone by Iolani in school?
Yeah, Iolani Yamashiro.
Okay. Of
She
course,
played
I
the
don't know.
violin.
I don't know what my odds would have been. I was a senior. I don't know how much attention I spent with on freshmen, but
Yeah, for sure.
what year did she start?
I believe she started in kindergarten.
Oh, okay. All the way straight through, huh?
Mhm.
Where did you end up finishing at?
Well, my story is kind of crazy because
I like crazy stories.
from Kamehameha, I went to Iolani, and then I got kicked out of Iolani my sophomore year. And at that point, I went to Farrington and for my junior year, and then I got kicked out of Farrington my junior year and wound up graduating at Radford
Okay. That's some variety, brother. That's some variety, man.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
So to set you on the course that you've taken over the last 50 years, right after graduation, did you have a plan that you wanted to follow? Did you have an idea what you wanted to do, or was it just whatever?
absolutely not. Yeah, no plan. I was pretty challenged as growing up. Um,
We
got
all
into a
have
lot of
been.
fights, and that was the primary reason for me getting kicked out of the schools that I did. But the good part is, I think my heart was really good. So although I got into fights and did some, pieces that I wish I didn't do, I think I wound up being okay. My dad had a lot to do with it. My dad definitely emphasized that I always do the right thing, be humble, but doing the right thing wasn't in you know, my being at the time. But being humble was something that he definitely instilled in me. And another thing he instilled in me was if you're right, go all the way. So that there's a lot of pieces that weigh differently in terms of decisions that I made
Yeah.
uh, till today.
Well, and actually, as far as you mentioning basically being good-hearted, like I
Hmm.
mentioned, when the class started putting together the contact list for our 50th, one of the early questions was, should we involve people who didn't fully graduate? We said yes, definitely. And your names was one of the first to come up. So for me, because I never really knew you, you left
Hmm.
before I even started. That said a lot. That was like, okay, they haven't really encountered this guy since sixth grade. 50 years later, his name is still in their minds as, let's include him. So I thought, okay, I got to at least find out who this guy is, or.
And, well, there's a lot of people that, regardless of the time that has elapsed, I feel extremely close to them. To bring up a few names, I would Albert Cam. Albert and I, both lived in Wanaloa.
Oh, okay.
His dad was my coach in baseball. Danton Naone, and Danton and I, we had a lot of fun times together. He definitely has some stories to share, but the love that I have for him and other people throughout the years has been incredible. And one person that wasn't a part of K through six, Brother Nolan. Brother Nolan, we've been pretty close, over the more recent history. But
Yeah.
being that he graduated at Kamehameha, his Palama days tied into a lot of the people that I grew up with as well. You know, there's also Mark Furtado, Michael Crabb,
Okay.
Landy
Yeah.
Kimura, and that, Jeffrey Stringer, Nolan Crabb, just a lot of other people that during that time period, I felt close to.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, Jay Sorrell was another one.
Yeah. And, over the number of years, 50 plus, it's amazing how so many of the friendships have endured. And I kind of want to think in my mind that's a Kamehameha developed thing, but I don't know. I don't know if it was just the group of people that we had, just something
Hmm.
about them. So, but it's fascinating looking back over it all. It's one of the reasons I started doing these sessions and digging into it a little bit and figuring out if I can see a connection or not.
Uh-huh.
So right after graduation, what was your next move?
Well, I felt that if I stayed in Hawaii at the time on Oahu, I would have definitely gone south, you know, even more than I did. So I wound up going to Mount San Antonio Junior College in Walnut, California. My uncle lived over there, and so I stayed with them. They had a good aviation and aeronautics program. So I went there, and I didn't plan on playing football. I was an all-state player, um, in high school, but after graduating, I just didn't see it. Again, I was getting into a lot of trouble at the time. So when I went up there, I watched them play one game, and I said, "That's it." The next season, I went out and had a great season, but I was still bad. I had a the season that I had was pretty good, where I made Player of the Week numerous times, Player of the Month in the conference. So anyway, at a certain point, I got recruited back to University of Hawaii, and came back and played there for, a year.
So now in high school, you were all state in what position?
Defensive back.
Right on. Is that what you also played at UH?
Yes.
All right. See, that to me is fascinating already. So, okay, so you do your school thing, you finish up where at UH?
No, I didn't finish up actually. So anyway, there's some things that elapsed during that period, and I wound up coming back. When I came back home, I went to, I started working in the restaurant business, and I wound up working at, it was called the winery at the time. And then I became the general manager at the Shorebird Beach
Okay,
Boiler.
yeah.
So I was the GM there for a number of years. I was with the company for 8 years. And then at that point, Ulu and I got married. So Ulu is my wife, Ulu Lani,
Hmm.
and Charlotte Gahan Yamashiro. She's from Kalihi. And again, she graduated from Farrington. But um, after we got married, we moved to the Pacific Northwest and lived in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I went to school in Salem at Willamette my first year of college, ran out of money and desire together, and ended up at the state school, University of Oregon in Eugene.
That's
So
awesome.
I can't tell you the number of times we made it up to Portland to run around and, do goofy things. And I remember lots of nice places. We went back for our class thing, the train trip deal in 23, and Portland's almost depressing at this point.
Well, it is. I mean, it's really horrible what happened, with the riots and all that happened for the defund the police. It's pretty, it's dramatic, the change between there and Seattle. It's been really rough.
See, and Portland, especially for me, had a very special cultural feel to it. I don't know
Hmm.
if you've ever been to Austin, Texas, but I get that same feeling there, where the town, people really get caught up in this is different, this is neat, it's a great idea, let's do it, and then to see Portland now, it's like, oh my gosh, just what happened,
Hmm.
so yeah, so I like the Northwest. I like the, especially that southwestern Oregon area. Lots of mountains, lots of trees, opportunities to hike, lots of water. It was like I enjoyed my time there. So I was there till 81.
Well,
Stayed. uh,
it was wonderful. While we were there, we were up there. We went on a 5-year plan, but wound up staying up there for 15 years. But during that time, my older sister also moved there with us, and my two nephews, Kaloku and Kiave, and my sister started a halal as well as a foundation. Um, Vicky Holt Takamini is was her kumu as well as my nephew's aunties. Uh, so
right on.
yeah, so Albert Holt. But till today, they run an event called 4 Days of Aloha, and they bring up various kumu uh, from Hawaii and put on workshops, culminating in a Hoike on Saturday and Sunday. And it's a tremendous event. So
And for most of the time you were in the Pacific Northwest, did you kind of stay in the restaurant industry?
yes, I did. Between the restaurant and mortgage industry, um, I was a part of both.
Awesome. And it seems to me a pretty good statement that you only had to do 8 years and you already got into upper management when you were in Hawaii. So that's a sign in itself, you know. I mean, a lot of people spend a lifetime getting to be GM, you know.
Yeah, I got promoted, pretty quickly. I came in as a manager, so within 3 years, 4 years, I was the GM, and we had four restaurants on Oahu and one on Maui that I oversaw. So it was a great position. Um, the ownership group, which consisted of two owners, they took very good care of me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's also reflective too, you know, when you're treated right, I've always felt your workers will give you way over 100% back, you know.
Oh, we've had tremendous team members, throughout my tenure wherever I was at. So it's been awesome.
That's great. Do you guys have kids?
We do. Two daughters, Tiari, who lives in Goldendale, Washington,
Goldendale, what is that close to?
uh, close to the border. It's Eastern Washington.
Okay, Spokane side then.
Yeah. And so I have four grandkids with her. And then my younger daughter, Malia, who just gave birth to to my grandson, Paliku. Yeah.
Where does she live?
She just moved in with us. So they're living in our ag building on our property.
Right on. It's always nice to have, you know, they talk about the necessity of multi-generational living in Hawaii because of the economy, but I favor that kind of life over, you know, everybody being on their own and doing their own thing. I
Yeah.
mean, I know probably so much more about my grandparents because of the fact that, you know, we lived with them for a number of years than a lot of other people. You ask them about their grandparents, and it's just visits around the holidays, and they don't have any historical information. You know, no stories about their lives popping up that you
Oh,
kind of
for sure.
memorize because you hear them often. Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
So from the Pacific Northwest, how did you eventually get to Maui?
Well, it's a good story. At the time, every year we'd normally come back to Oahu, and you know, on the last in 2008, when we came back, my wife said, we got to move back. I miss my mom. I miss my family. She's getting older, and normally every year that we came back um, to the Pacific Northwest, she would say the same thing. But I would try to pacify her for a little while, and then she'd forget until the next year. But in 2008, there was something in her now, she just felt that it was something that we needed to do. So we thought about it, prayed about it, and we decided to come back home. And when we did come back home, we were planning on going back to Oahu. We were still deliberating on what we were going to do for income. She was doing the shave ice, and I was in the mortgage and restaurant business. But at this point, I was in fine dining and more on the service end of it. So we're making plans to come back to Oahu and talk to my sister Iolani, who was living on Maui at the time. And she told me, Junior, my nickname is Junior. Why don't you come to Maui instead? I can live with her, and the competition wouldn't be as stiff, going up against Matsumoto's and Waihola's, all the, know, historically popular and wonderful places
Yeah.
that
Now, let
Chase.
me get my picture clear in my mind then. Ulu was already doing shave ice up in the Pacific Northwest?
She started in the Pacific Northwest, correct?
Okay. In what kind of venue? Food truck, pop up?
Well, it's the Pacific Northwest, the weather there. So it's a very short season, a 3 month season pretty much. So we were just doing events at the time. She was a mainstay at the Vancouver Farmers Market, but we did a lot of farmers markets while we were there. She also did all of um, the luau's, the Hawaiian luau's. She did it for, at the time, Linfield, Willamette.
Okay.
She did it at Willamette as well. Um,
Did she ever
Pacific,
do Pacific? I was going to ask.
no, no, University of Pacific,
Okay.
the one at in downtown Portland.
Up on the hill?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then Lewis and Clark. So she actually did University of Oregon 1 year or a few years. Um, so, but she had a really good reputation up there. So when we again moved to Maui, oh, so my sister Iolani said, "Why don't we move there?" And Ulu went online and she saw it. She saw a small little location in Lahaina. It was only 65 square feet. And she called it. She flew out the next day, looked at the location, and we signed the lease and we opened up. Now, this is in the middle of the recession. So, it was pretty bad. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit because, there was a lot of prayer that was involved in making this decision. So there'd been numerous times that we'd be on sorry, we'd be driving and, my daughter played premier soccer. So we'd be driving all over and she would say, God, just please give me a sign on whether or not going back to Hawaii is a good thing. And if we did go, what should we do? And so we'd be caravanning and one of the girls in the car in the front needs to go needs to go to the restroom. So they pull off, and Ulu had just made this prayer, give me a sign. And we pull off this road, and in the middle of this parking lot was this huge shave ice building that they were doing shave ice out of. But that happened multiple times throughout the time period that we were making the decision on what we should do, when we move back. So again, we started in a 65 square foot shop in Lahaina and encountered numerous challenges, with the recession having been going on at the time. Nobody really wanted shave ice, but we managed to survive and actually thrive in that location.
Now, I'm going to assume, haven't really looked at your menu closely, but does Ululani's have some signature flavors that are unique to Ululani's?
Well, not really. Well, the thing that is really unique about Ululani's is one of the things when we opened and moved to Maui, one of the things we wanted to do was to make every flavor as good as can be. And I know that's saying a lot because, we actually have 50 flavors on our menu, but but the pieces that make us stand out is what we do. We use ultra purified water, which is a reverse osmosis water with an ultraviolet blast. We use pure cane sugar. Now, this is from the very beginning when we started. We use real fruit purees in our syrup. Um, Everything that we did was to our taste buds. So everything is according to our recipes, our palates. And we like bold flavors. We wanted you to know what you're eating when you tasted it. So, this is going to be almost like making a commercial, but,
Hey, may
but
as well. I mean, you're in a period of growth, so I mean, there's no better time to kind of spread the word a little bit.
yeah, so our mango and our coconut, 33% of those flavors are puree. Our, our calamansi is super, super good. Our lychee, super good. Pretty much our coconut is phenomenal. There's just we have a crack seed line. So we have pickled mango, wet lemon peel, lihing mui mango. And each one of those flavors are awesome.
The crack seed line, you guys are involved from day one through packaging and promotion and all that, or do you have an outside source that produces and packages or
No, we're not selling crack seed. It's a crack seed line of flavors.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so we make our own pickled mango syrup. We make our own wet lihing mui syrup. We make our own lihing mui syrup.
See,
Lihing
except
mui.
for the Lihing Mui, the other two for me, I'm not like, oh, go hunt down shave ice, but I don't know if I've ever even seen those flavors offered.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have. We're considered one of the innovators of the new wave of shave ice, and that's nationally, globally. We've definitely made an impact. But additional flavors that are super good, our green tea is 100% matcha, super good. Our coffee is wonderful. Our ube is incredible. And, I'm using all of these superlatives, but the reason that we have such a strong following and a strong reputation is because literally every flavor tastes excellent.
And
Um,
that's what I was kind of digging for because, you know, shave ice basically is shave ice. I mean, your primary ingredients are all the same. So when I heard you were going through this expansion stage and, franchising, I thought, okay, you can't just be your, ordinary run of the mill shave ice to even consider that because your franchisees are not looking for average. They're looking for what they know is going to work for them.
yeah, so to clarify a few things, literally, if you were to Google search best shave ice in the world, we are a dominant, we're the dominant company, and
Wow.
that pops up. So
That's
we're
a
number
great pat on the
one.
back, man.
Yeah. So it's everyone thinks the same thing. This is whenever someone hasn't had our shave ice, they also they always say, ice and water, ice and syrup. How good could it really be? But we really have come up with a totally different product almost. Whether or not it's our ingredients, our packing style, the aloha that we exude when we make everything that we do. So we make our own syrups, we make our own ice, our packing styles, the way that we poke holes in our ice so that the syrups can saturate through better. Takes more time. What we do takes more time, but the end product. So I'm going to give you an example. We just opened in San Diego, in Chula Vista, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. The wait was 2.5 hours for 2 days in a row, and 2 hour wait till today. There's still a 2 hour wait. We just opened in Waimanalo last week, and the wait is, could be an hour long. Um, we opened in Livermore, California. The wait was 2.5 hours. and people waited. So
That's
regarding our franchisees as well, every one of our franchisees has been a customer of ours in the past. So we've literally had over 10,000 franchise inquiries from 49 countries. Um, and that doesn't happen by serving a run-of-the-mill product, right? Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
So we've never had to solicit and go after a franchisee. They all have come to us, and it's only been really over the past 3 years that we've been put ourselves in the position where we can scale, where we can provide, the different pieces that'll be necessary for a franchise of ours to not only survive, but to make it and thrive.
now a question that popped in my head a little bit earlier when you were talking about your water process,
Mhm.
because ice is the number one volume item in your production.
Correct.
Your processing
Sorry.
device, go ahead. Your
That's
processing device or whatever, is it something that's installed on site and you create ice through the process?
sorry. That's going off through the computer. So my phone is on silent.
No worries, no worries. Sometimes life cannot stop completely, you know.
I'm going to shut it off for now. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. So anyway, I'm thinking in my head, does your water come onto site, run itself through some kind of processing device to make it the type of water you want, and then turns it into ice on site?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we with us franchising, you cannot really tell what the water is going to be like in different counties. So, we have a reverse osmosis system with an ultraviolet blast that provides, you know, an extra layer of protection and purification. So literally 99.99% of all bacteria, minerals, anything that could be harmful is eliminated from the water so that you're getting pure water.
That's neat. But then again, I'm thinking it adds to your in-house cost, obviously.
For
You
sure.
you got to have the system put in, and then it comes out and you are creating ice on site. Then you're not like ripping open bags out of a cooler and you know,
No, no,
like
no.
I've
What
seen
we,
it.
what we do is we have literally on Maui, we have an ice production facility where we have our own team of utility staff that they make our ice. We actually have 8 big ice machines that we run the purified water through, and they're in charge of making the ice for us. We also have a syrup development team or a syrup team that produces our syrup for us as well. And
That's
in the
awesome.
mainland, we actually opened the syrup production facility in the Pacific Northwest to handle our franchise, the volume that we are having and anticipate having.
That is awesome. That's the when you, and I think it would be easier to control quality when you're involved in the entire process of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do that, because everybody that comes, all customers that come, they're going to expect certain pieces. The flavors have to be the same, the ice has to be the same, the taste has to be the same. So yeah, all of those pieces are all tied into the process.
Yeah, because I've read in the past too. I think it was referencing franchising in general, but brought up McDonald's. If you buy a
Mhm.
Big Mac in Japan, it tastes just like the one, at the McDonald's in Portland, Oregon, or wherever else you happen to be. They get familiar with the taste, they enjoy the taste. That taste
Mhm.
is what they're coming in for. So you got to make sure it's there. Yeah.
Correct. And that is what we not only strive to do, but we're able to deliver on that. In addition to that, it's, our mochi, our snow caps, our toasted coconut. A lot of these pieces are things that we share with them in terms of how to make it so that they can deliver those same pieces as we do.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess with your franchise grand openings, do you travel a lot?
Yeah, actually, quite a bit. This year alone, we opened a shop in Florida, and that was in Seminole, Florida, the Gulf Coast side. By the way, can I introduce you to Ulu?
Absolutely.
So this is Ulu here.
Hi,
Good.
Ulu.
This
Hi.
is
I'm
Kermit.
Kermit, and we're dissecting your life. I hope you don't mind.
I don't think I have a choice with David.
That's the man to have dissecting it for you, though.
Yes, I can hear him from upstairs, but
He's doing a
he's done a
wonderful
great
job.
job. So
Great to meet you,
very nice to meet you as well.
and best of luck with your shave ice as you go forward from here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we've been truly, well, we're graciously thankful for all that's happened so far. And we couldn't do what we are doing if it wasn't because of the Lord. So we're thankful.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Take care.
You too.
Yeah, so I think you were on the ice. Was that where we're going? Yeah, so each shop that we open, they have to get the ice makers that we propose to them. And then we train them on all the different pieces with that. We supply them with the syrups. And then on the travel side, a week before we open, we go to train. Now, and prior to that, for 2 weeks before that, the owners and management comes to Maui and trains with us. But when we go there, we train the staff for 1 week, whereupon they have a soft opening, and then a couple days later, the grand opening. So far this year, we've opened in Seminole, Florida. We've opened in Waimanalo. We've opened in Chula Vista in San Diego. We're going to be flying to Plano, Texas, and opening there within a couple of weeks. Coming back to Oahu, we're going to be opening in Waikiki. Uh, and then later in the year, we're going to be opening in Sacramento, California as well. So,
So are you now at this point full time into shave ice? No more mortgages, no more restaurant management. This is what you do?
oh, it's been that way for 16 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
just shave ice. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. It's exciting news. Now, I know the length of weather, like you mentioned in the Pacific Northwest, might be a deterrent, but do you foresee ever opening up through the Midwest at all?
Well, we're in the Midwest. We have a ton of inquiries, so people definitely want us in every state, even Alaska.
Wow.
So, and we actually in 2017, we actually had a master franchise agreement with an investment group from the Middle East. So we're actually licensed to open and operate in probably 7 countries. It was supposed to be 9 countries in the Middle East, but we finalized the licensing process within 7 years. I mean, with 7 locations. Um, but COVID happened and everything got derailed with that. So we literally had to reset and get started again in 2022.
Wow. When you start talking international, it really changes the look of things, huh?
Yeah, we should be opening at some point, in Australia. We've had a tremendous amount of interest from there, different Asian countries as well. So, whether or not it's Japan, the Philippines, Korea, South Korea, excuse me, but even Malaysia and Indonesia, we've had inquiries from.
Uh, So with just inquiries, licensing, um, just the general business logistics, how many days a week do you actually get to sleep, David?
Well, well, the good part is we have a really good team. The one of the pieces that that I've learned pretty early on was if if the business cannot survive without you for 1 month, um, then you really don't have a business. You have a job. So we have a team in place and a team that is growing that's able to fulfill a lot of the pieces that we're planning on. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that we're undergoing because we're not only considered on the innovation side, it's something that we're always doing. So one of the innovations that we've done is we actually pour in thirds instead of in rainbow, like a rainbow style. We poke holes in our shave ice because of my fine dining background. Normally in restaurants, you rim a plate before it goes to the tables so that it looks presentable. There's no oil spills all around. And we do that with the shave ice process as well. So it does take a little bit more time, but the end result is a shave ice product that, you know, a lot of times people don't even know that it's ice and syrup.
So rather than the normal concept of layering vertical,
Correct.
you layer
We do it,
horizontal.
yeah, we do it pie shaped. So what happens is like you get a more clearly defined section, an equal disbursement of flavors rather than the middle portion spreading out, and you're left with too small, flavors or strips the traditional way. Um, Also, in the past, there's a lot of people that would say that, their syrup didn't reach the bottom or the syrup went straight to the bottom. We don't encounter much of those pieces. So, but it does take more time. Our process does take more time, but the end result is where for someone to wait 2.5 hours and for them to say it was worth the wait, that says a lot right there.
Yeah, that's an optimal compliment right there, man.
Mhm. And so on the innovation side, aside from that, we also came up with our own line or our sugar-free base, which, been a movement about, anti-sugar, sugar this, sugar that. And so we recognize that there's a definite need, especially with the diabetes in Hawaii, that's so prevalent. So sugar-free syrups that we came up with, the base that we came up with, and our flavors are way better than the traditional sugar-free syrups that have been out there. And we ourselves were serving this syrup that we were not proud of, Viola, that we were not proud of. Kermit said goodbye. Yeah, but it wasn't until maybe the past 5 months that we came up with the recipe. So we currently have 14 flavors of sugar-free that we're serving. And we're going to be innovating to another process that I'm not going to mention, but I think it's going to position ourselves to be, you know, definitely we're considered as a leader already, but it'll solidify our position as that.
And that's the whole key. I mean, you've got to stay in tune with your customer base,
Mhm.
their wants, their needs, the trends that their tastes might take in direction change or whatever
Right.
it just it's a fantastic place that you sound like you're at, but at the same time, my mind is whirling with, like you say, with a good team, it helps, but God, there's just got to be so much floating through your brain when your head hits the pillow, man.
No, I should mention that aside from Ulu and myself, one of the co-founders with our business since we moved to Maui was Brad Edgerton. And Brad is my best friend growing up was Janice Yee. Um, she's one of my best friends growing up, but she went to Kaimuki High School, and Janice and Brad got married. I think around 2000 and something. But after they got married, no, actually they got married in 93, 92 or 93. But when we were living up there, Brad and I were partners in another venture and a really good product that's still on the shelf. But it's on the shelf. It's not something that we're actively improving on. But yeah, so he was with Ulu and I. So Ulu, Brad, and myself, we're the co-founders of Ululani's Hawaiian Shave Ice Tour and what it is today. And he's a brilliant man. So that alone is another piece of our leadership and ownership, and that has put us in the position that we're in.
Yeah, it all comes down to your people. Yeah.
Yes, and then again, so he runs our syrup manufacturing plants. Um, we we have one currently in Vancouver, Washington, but we're about to build another one that's going to allow us to supply an even larger, larger group of franchisees. And there's we're looking to open a store, a corporate store in Vegas, Las Vegas as well.
Wow.
And that's going to be a corporate training facility as well as another, um, you know, point that we're going to be able to distribute our products from and supply. So as the need grows, we'll have to, grow with it. On the business side, we definitely go with the concept that if you're not growing, you're dying. So
It's a good attitude.
yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a good attitude, but if we're not improving, if we're not growing, if we're not continuously striving to better ourselves, to provide better service, to provide a better product, to better our costs, to pass that cost on to our franchisees and our customers. If we didn't have that mindset, then would eventually start, stabilize, and then regressing at that point. So that part, we never want to be in that position.
You know, as I was looking forward to sitting down with you today, it was
Mhm.
running through my mind how, because I'm only imagining, I hadn't heard any of your story at that point, and I'm imagining, okay, shave ice, you've got that basic concept that has its own following. And it reminded me of like one of the things I marvel as I travel throughout the United States is King's Hawaiian sweetbread. You know,
Yes.
that was around when we were in elementary and before, you know, the round loaf and you just cut it up. And now they come in little buns and they're in every grocery store. You know, I
Yes.
see recipes that ask for that item and I'm going, okay, you've got a basic flavor that people seem to enjoy, but at the same time, you know, you've got to say, oh, I can't have my customers cutting this pandus into, you know, slices and taking them out and pan frying them, which is what I used to just love to death. That and butter when I was little. But now you got the buns and then sliders are coming out at Arby's that are
Uh-huh.
inside the Hawaiian bread. I'm going, you know, I can see what you say about how the growth has to not only keep you in number one, but keep evolving so you stay in number one. Yeah.
Correct.
You understand what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yeah, the trip to get there is much easier than the trip to stay there. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and it sometimes too, because that's the only thing mainland people, friends of mine, are familiar with. You know, I can't even begin to explain to them that round loaf that came wrapped with a tin pan underneath, and you know, and they just cannot. You know, it's like, oh no, they come in little buns already. Yeah, now,
Yeah,
but
for
you
sure.
know, back when, and I
But we had
mean,
to tear it apart, you know.
yeah. And I was going to ask about it. I haven't been to where I could even look around for it for decades, but when I was little, since I grew up on Molokai, Maui was our closest point of contact for real things in the world. You know, we had to go off island for anything we enjoyed, but um, my mom used to always come back from Maui with the goody goody.
Goody
You
goody.
remember? Do they still make it?
They still do Tasaka goody goody.
See, and that to me is a very unique item along the lines of shave ice, kind of,
Uh-huh,
because
for sure.
it had different fillings and you know different flavors. And I thought, and I loved the heck out of it, man. You couldn't even keep it in our house 24 hours after you got
Uh-huh.
off the plane. So it was now I just want to go back to Maui and go get some. But it's just it's amazing, you know, you to I've always been fascinated only because I know so very little about it, about how business workings and business concepts are so involved in, you know, you've got to really understand you can't just like swing and hope you hit a home run. You know, you're practicing and you're researching and all that kind of stuff. And it it it's a lot of work. I mean, I just cannot imagine 16 years of doing what you've been doing and
You know
but
what? I it's really a labor of love. You know, and the thing that a lot of people don't realize, I mean, for myself, right? It really wasn't until Ulu started the shave ice, and actually until we moved to Maui, and that I really found something that I was that passionate about, you know, and it was something where, you know, when we left, we in the middle of the recession, I was in mortgages, I was in fine dining, and both of those industries are impacted when there's a recession. So us moving back to Hawaii, you know how much more expensive it is moving back to Hawaii than it is living in the mainland. So I really felt like it was one of the chances that a rare opportunity to do something that would put us ahead, make us not only just be on the average side or below average, but something to grow and thrive with. So I really credit what we're doing. I credit Maui. Maui is such an incredible place. We started in Lahaina. We lost two of our shops in Lahaina. We lost a warehouse in Lahaina. Um, so and that piece there to literally where we started, where we grew, to lose all of that, we're very fortunate that that our that none of our employees, got killed, but there's a number of our employees that lost their homes. And so the impact of that piece was tremendous, but the community, the not only the Lahaina, but the Maui community has been so embracing of us. And I know that they're proud of us as well. Whenever they bring people into town, or they have visitors, guests, they always bring them to our shops, and it's something that, and they're proud to show them what we're doing, the difference between what we do as Ululanis, Hawaiian shave ice, and what people are normally accustomed to when they have shave ice. So, I welcome everybody listening to this, if they're a part of our Kamehameha 75 Ohana, please come when you come to Maui, get a hold of me and I'll give you a special tasting. I definitely open that up to our group that's coming in October, our 75 group, whoever they are, whoever's coming, we're definitely going to do a tasting at one of our shops, hopefully one of the days that you guys are here. If I'm in town, I'd love to head it. And if not, I'll have somebody else take care of it. But if I can be here at all, I'll be here.
It's exciting. It's news, and I'll make a note in my calendar to kind of turn their attention toward you just before the trip again to remind them, because at our age, reminders are nice.
For sure.
Yeah, God bless my calendar, man. If not for that, I wake up in the morning and stare around my room and wonder, okay, what am I supposed to do?
Oh, come on, you're not there yet. Yeah.
Oh man. Wow, David, this has been fantastic, man. I feel like I know you quite a bit better. Like I said, we didn't even have contact probably in at Kamehameha at all, but I have surprisingly, even during high school, heard your name come up. And so I'm gonna have on my calendar somewhere to either make it to Maui, or I'll probably just stay in touch with you as you're doing mainland grand openings, because
Where are you at?
Fairmont, Minnesota, South Central Minnesota.
Wow.
I'm about 8 miles from the Iowa border, and we're right in the middle, equal distance west and east in the state. So, but we've gone down. I lived in San Antonio from 81 to about 94, 95. So we've made that drive, and I can almost do it in 24 hours. So I mean, it's not like, we could jump on a plane, but I mean, I like to stop and see the world's largest ball of twine and all those other cross country things, that
Uh-huh.
you don't get to see on the plane. But yeah, I mean, and I just keep my fingers crossed that maybe things will get to the point where Ululanis will be in the Midwest.
Where we've had, it's not Midwest, but where we've had a lot of inquiries is Utah.
Okay. Huh.
How far is that considered? Where is that considered?
It's probably borderline the westernmost part of what they would consider to be the Midwest. Um, I think more from, well, you can kind of go by time zones too.
Mhm.
Once you hit central time zone, you're pretty much in some place that would be considered Midwest for the most part. But uh, yeah, Utah's undergoing a lot of growth. I've been kind of watching two brothers have started doing Hawaiian plate lunch places called Moberas up here,
Oh, really? Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
they're experiencing good growth. And then there's another organization that I won't openly badmouth, but it's two haole guys who try to simulate, and they're growing, but their food's nasty. So I don't know. It's just he's trying to. It's like a lot of the poke people are doing. They're trying to take the attraction and the love they see for a product and just
Hmm.
jump in on the bandwagon.
Hmm.
You know, no history, no talent, no artistry. They just want to jump in, grab money as fast as they can, and then maybe get out or whatever, you know. And so
Hmm.
they don't worry about a quality product. I mean, I can't tell you how many orders of poke have dropped on the table in front of me that have guacamole and kernels of corn in it. You know, it's like uh, I don't mind if you say fusion to begin with, but don't just say poke period and then expect me to get excited. So,
Hmm.
and we usually kind of we've got such a large hui going on in the Midwest out of Minneapolis, but we go all the way to Chicago. And, you know, so we use ourselves as a network sounding board. You know, oh, this poke place open up. Okay, so, you know, was it Gono or, you know, authentic? And so we get that internal review before we even jump in the car to think about going anywhere. So
Oh, yeah.
we check it out first.
If whenever they come, hopefully everybody will come to Maui, or as many that can come. I know that between Kapala, Bobby Torres, Sandy, Oliver, it's going to be very Keely, Charles. It'll be very welcoming for us to see all of you here, for sure. But I've been close with Kapala for quite a while because not only through elementary school, but my dad was very, very good friends with his stepdad, Charles Kaihui. And so Charles and Mom Annette got married, and Kapala has been a part of you know, our family for a while. So and then moving to Maui was incredible and seeing Bobby again. And then at various reunions, seeing, Suel and Pono Emmett Kalai it's always wonderful. It was wonderful to tie up with Raylene like, this past reunion.
Yeah.
That was really
A-
nice.
and stay tuned because Raylene's on my radar. We're gonna start taking a closer look at dates in early August. So, and that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it because we have, you know, a small faction of those that spent a lot of years at Kamehameha but just never finished there. But and
Mhm.
so their perspective is going to be different. But
Yeah.
everybody still, you know, regardless of the even the Kamehameha connection, all the ones of these that I've done so far seem to bring up some things that people kind of just go, oh wow, they did that. That's cool. You know, that's like out of the ordinary or exciting, fascinating, whatever it happens to be. And it's it's neat. It's one of the reasons I'm continuing to do them beyond the reunion itself. I did it initially to get everybody maybe kind of charged up and excited about the reunion. But once I did at that point of the reunion, I'd already done like 40 something and people were kind of clamoring, like, you know, oh, how soon after reunion are you going to get back? So I thought, well, okay, you know, and we got lots of classmates left. So I'm just talking to them one by one. And, you know, when the time is right, we'll get together and sit down and share the sharing is the one of the neat parts because not everyone gets to stay in as much contact as they would probably enjoy.
Mhm.
And at the same time, too, maybe life just didn't introduce us like you and I, or
Mhm.
I've done about 8 to 10 people who I probably never exchanged 5 words with the whole 6 years I was there. But you sit there and go, wow, now I wish I had known them better in high school. I mean, these are neat people, but
Mhm.
um, so yeah, it's an exciting concept, and I get excited when I hear the things you're doing just because it just sounds so neat. I mean, not everybody gets to the point where they're franchising.
Mhm.
I don't know if you would or would not know Harry Lake. He graduated with us, but
No, I don't know
he
Harry.
yeah, he was in the restaurant ownership management business for a long time. And what he's kind of doing now is he does a thing called island noodles, but
Mm.
they're primarily state fairs. So what he's done is he's taken his franchising plan and set it up where he will let someone franchise into X number of state fairs in their general area.
It's
So
great.
he's got like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and then somebody's doing like kind of around the Atlanta area. I think he's got some East Coast Florida stuff. But they're at the state fair. They've got huge walks. His big um I don't know what you would call it, gimmick or whatever is they'll get to a point where the noodles are almost done. He's already, they add ingredients as they go. So they're slicing and the vegetables flying in and the noodles are going. And then he'll get that wok and they'll spray whatever it is. And then he'll tip it, ignite it, and the thing will just, and then everybody yells, fire in the hole. And that's just the whole, the show that they put on as they're prepping all the meals, and it works, draws a
That's
crowd. When I got to see him or his operation at the Minnesota State Fair, I mean,
mhm.
same thing. It was a good 45 to an hour wait, but people were not stepping out of line to even go lua, man. They were like, we're here, we got our spot in line, we're staying till we get served, man. So, and it's a good product. I mean,
That's so
quality
awesome.
ingredients, yeah.
And congrats to him. It is a lot of work, but for him to get to this stage, that says a lot about him. So
Yeah,
congrats to him.
yeah. My
You
brother,
and again,
go
I
ahead.
definitely wanted to mention that what you're doing definitely is a wonderful thing. You know, I did not think that I would be something that people would listen to my story. So, when you said what you said to me, that uh, prompted me to agree to come on. Uh, but watching the pieces of the other people that I did see, uh, very grateful for you spending the time, energy, and effort to do this as well.
Well, I want to make sure I say mahalo to you for taking your time because I'm sure your calendar is a lot more full than mine, but big mahalo to you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, let me say, Michael Ho, Haunani, Geraldine Asing, Sandy, I haven't seen you guys at any one of these reunions. And we're some of the ones that left, or got kicked out or whatever. So it'd be great to see you guys at one of these things or come to Maui. It'd be wonderful to see you here as well.
Yeah, it would be great. And if you happen to um maybe have a way to contact any of those people, I'd be glad to uh have you share their contact information with me and I can contact them and hopefully we can get them on screen. So that would be nice.
That'd be great.
In fact, maybe plant a seed or two with Kapala for me next time you talk to him.
Oh, that's for sure. I will talk to Kapala I can talk to him today.
Awesome, man. Big mahalo. Enjoy the
Mahalo
rest
to
of
you.
your day,
Thank you. Thank you.
and the best of luck with all your ventures as you move forward, my man.
Mahalo nui.
Ahui ho, my man.
Yeah, take care.